Okay, it's time to take a deep dive into some of these lines that have moved. The Westgate here in Las Vegas always puts out the NFL lines a week before. They call them the 12-day number. I call them the look-ahead lines, but you can actually bet next week's games before this week's games are played. Once this week's games are played, next week's lines are going to change. The question is, are those moves justified or an overreaction by the public? Marco, we'll start off at MetLife Stadium. New York Giants at New York Jets. The Giants lose to the Dallas Cowboys. The Jets lose to the Miami Dolphins. Yikes. Open Jets -1.5. Now Giants -2.5. This is interesting because there's no way this is justified.
Absolutely not. This is a total overreaction. And by the way, didn't both teams lose last week? Okay, so did the Giants look that much better in losing?
No, they actually looked worse, I think, than the Jets did.
You know, and this is a spot that, honestly, we know how bad Miami is, but when Fitzpatrick is in there at quarterback, they have a legitimate shot. And we saw them give a good effort against Buffalo. Buffalo was coming off a bye week, probably was looking past them, but they still scored points on that good defense. Then we saw them on the Monday night game take the 14-0 lead over my Steelers, and they got the win last week over the Jets. Right now, Sam Darnold, you know, I hate to keep making jokes about it, but whoever at the NFL that had the mic, you know, was in charge of which cuts they put out,
yeah,
that really wasn't good for Sam Darnold. That should have never been released, him saying that, because everybody is having a field day with it.
Yeah,
it's the biggest.
I mean, look at the Patriots. They're now calling themselves, you know, now the Ravens are called the Ghostbusters because they were able to kill the ghost. But it's just funny because you're right. It probably was.
And they played Miami played over the loudspeaker Ghostbusters to start the game. I mean,
that is great.
Yeah,
I missed that.
I didn't either.
So it's a spot where, you know, it's a bad situation. Now they're back at home. This is the Battle of New York. The Giants are coming off that primetime game, and they got waxed. And you know what? Daniel Jones has showed, promise so far, but as the season goes on, and we keep getting film, and
he's channeling his inner Eli Manning. It's pretty bad.
Well, people are starting to see what he does. They got game film on him, and he's not playing well. 3 turnovers last week they had against Dallas, and if you look at the last 4 games, 4-3, 1-3. You can't turn football over and win ball games. This is too much, and you'll hear me talk about this game later in a segment.
All right, VR. Green Bay, Carolina at Green Bay. Green Bay loses in a hilarious fashion to the Chargers. That was, and everybody couldn't believe how they just laid an egg in Southern California. They're now a 5-point favorite over a Carolina team that got it done for me against the Titans. I like betting against Green Bay and Lambeau getting points, honestly. Let me say that again. I like betting against Green Bay, laying points in Lambeau. This home field advantage just hasn't been that great the last couple of years, and really we've seen the market agree. Do you think in this line move is justified from the key number of 7 down to kind of a dead number of 5?
I do. I think also the way these two teams match up, with Carolina being able to play defense a lot better than Green Bay can, and I think they're going to have some problems offensively. Green Bay, you saw last week in the first half, I think that was the second lowest output they've had in Rodgers' career at Green Bay as a starter. So something was wrong with that offense last week. We'll get back on track. Only time will tell. But I think on the Carolina side, they're going to have a lot of success running the football. That Green Bay defense can't stop anybody rushing. And McCaffrey against that defense, good luck. I like Carolina.
All right. Detroit at Chicago open. Chicago -3.5. Now 2.5. Marco, I almost hated myself enough to make the Bears my best bet. I do like the Bears -2.5. The line move is interesting here. I've now bet against the Detroit Lions 3 weeks in a row. Oh, that's a good segue. I apologize to you guys. I did give out the Lions as a barking dog. I got a text from a buddy saying, hey, Matt Stafford's not 100%. I saw the Jimmy Vaccaro ticket with the Raiders -2.5, and I said, all right, I'm done. I'm off this Lions team, and I got to cash a ticket, so I owe you guys an apology. Next time I'll try to let you guys know in some form or fashion without giving away my intel.
There you go. Kelly, this is one where in the next segment we're going to do the teaser segment, and this is an automatic. If you're playing just numbers, you tease Detroit up at 2.5. I'm not going to have that in my teaser this week because this is a bad spot for the Lions. They're going back-to-back road games. They're going to play a division rival. And I think it's an overreaction to Chicago losing last week. They showed fight in the second half. The first half was atrocious, and the defense, as good as the defense played, they only gave up 22 points last week, and the week before they only gave up 17 points to the Chargers. The Philadelphia, 2 different drives were aided by stupid penalties. I was losing my mind watching that game, and then I really lost my mind when I watched the Seattle-Tampa game later. But there was one drive that there were 5 penalties by the Chicago Bears, and the one guy kept jumping off sides. How do you keep jumping off sides?
I always ask my buddy that was an O lineman in college, I'd be like, how come you don't know how to count?
Yeah.
Because it seems so simple. I understand it's frustrating from a spectator side, but I do feel like their job's a little bit harder than we give them credit for.
But the big play in that game was they got off the field, they stopped them on a 3rd down, and they were going to get off, and it was too far for a field goal, so they were going to punt. We were going to get the ball back with a chance to take the lead, and instead, Carson Wentz, the defender, comes up, the ball's gone, has to give him the shove, and they get to roughing the quarterback, and it keeps the drive alive, and they get a touchdown, and you know what happens. We got it where the sun doesn't shine with the Bears, but I like that they didn't quit in the second half, and they made a game of it. I'm going to look, I think Chicago is the side here.
All right, Miami at Indianapolis. This one's come down a lot. Indianapolis opened 15.5-point favorite, now minus 10.5 because the Dolphins got their first win.
And the undecided at quarterback for Indianapolis, I'm seeing. Lines continuing to drop. Miami's covered now, 4 straight games in a row, and they come off getting their first
real quick,
win.
Do you think Brian Hoyer was that bad of a quarterback? I think the only reason why they lost that game to the Steelers is because Adam Vinatieri missed a field goal.
Yeah.
I thought he threw the pick 6, which I was waiting for because I was on the Steelers.
I had the Steelers.
That being said, he didn't lose that football game.
No, I don't think so. That's why. I mean,
There's not 5 points difference
That's what I
between
guess.
him.
no, the drop-off is
Between
not.
him
No.
Okay.
The drop-off is not worth all that. But again, I'm not ready to jump on Miami. I mean, they got their first win. Getting that O off your chest, I mean, that's got to be so much pressure for that team. So I don't know how.
Now they got pressure. They don't want to get another win because they're not going to.
They don't want exactly get a shot at the draft pick.
All right. We went through those numbers.
Don't let that happen again.
We are going to go. I need to know who you guys are going for your teasers of the week. You getting excited for this one? The teasers have been cashing really well for both of these guys. Marco, we'll start with you. What is your teaser?
Well, the first half is easy. It's the New York Jets plus 8.5.
Okay.
There's no way the Giants, first of all, should be favored. Second of all, I don't see them getting separation and winning by more than a touchdown. So that one's easy. The second one is on the Thursday night game, and this is going to determine whether you have to use a 6.5-point teaser or a 6. There are a couple rogue 1.5s out there right now. If it's 1.5, then we use the 6-point teaser. Get Oakland plus 7.5 at home. If not, if you can only get one, then you got to use the 6.5.
You're right. There is a lot. Offshore, there's some 1.5s, but Vegas, we have 1.5 left at the good old Westgate. Everybody else hanging out
just down the street. We can run and get it.
There you
or
go.
I can jump on my app right now like you do.
Yes.
Okay, and take Oakland plus the 7.5 as the teaser with the Jets.
All right, VR, your teaser.
We're strictly teasing numbers and hopefully falling on sides we at least agree on. These numbers make sense. New York Jets, like Marco touched on, we're going through that 3 that we lost now that Wise Guys took the plus 3 and it's 2.5. So we could get that up to 8.5. Pretty good with a 43.5 total. And just tie that into the Monday night game with San Francisco, just having the win at home straight up against Seattle. San Francisco is good. This is primetime television, a chance to show we are the team in the NFC West. I like it.
I like it too. The Jets is a team that I have circled on my long list, but I don't know if I have the guts to actually play them in real life, but I agree with both of you. I do think this is going to be a very competitive game. Yes, they're at home. Yes, so are the Giants. So there is no home field advantage.
Right.
I don't truly believe this Giants team is basically a field goal better. Definitely not a touchdown better.
No way.
Niners, we already said that we agreed on the Niners, so that's a great one. And Thursday night, the home team with the Raiders here. That's going to be a fun one. I might just have to do it so I have a little action on Thursday night, maybe throw that in my teaser. Okay, guys, it is time for us to take a quick break, but when we return, we're getting the Steam game from Mr. VR, Gianni the Greek, over here, and either the sandwich or the trap game from Marco. Stay tuned. We got lots of great stuff, and maybe even a little surprise for you at the end of the show.